All right, first position is a brief seated meditation. The most classic yoga start is just to, you're welcome to lay, you're welcome to stand. I've been starting standing a lot. I don't start laying that often. So I'm just gonna sit here nice and tall. So that's my first thing, is my posture. Now, some things we do in the beginning of a class, depending on what your condition and situation today, you could do some breathing exercises. Some of them include just the Kriya breathing or the box breathing, the slow inhale in your nose, maybe holding at the top, slow exhale out the nose, and then you're holding the breath at the bottom. I mentioned breath holding is one of our second pranayams. If you'd like to add any alternate nostril breathing, any Kapalabhati, Bhastrika, breath of fire, or skull cleansing. Even oming is a pranayama, all right? So I'm gonna give you 1 to 2 minutes here, first position. All right, yogis. When you're ready, let's come to tabletop. No rush getting there. Just cat-cow to start, just a few here. It's always good, we don't really do cat-cow enough. It should be one of your most kind of regular warm-up actions. There's not many exercises you can do that are not challenging the spine, but opening it up in such a way. So you start with your neck, right? Lifting the chin, arching the back, exhaling, rounding the spine. You take a few there, and then you draw circles at the core. So it's more of that complex style of cat-cow. So cat-cow into, if you're just joining, you only missed seated meditation. And I did mention today will be a little bit more focused on holding postures. I am starting with you with some movements, and we will add movements to kind of break up the holding positions, okay? So you're loosening up your spine, pelvic tilt, neck. Next position is the good old down dog. If you're ready to hold a different inversion, that's totally fine. Headstand, child pose would be easiest. Inversion, which means bring the head below the heart. I did a little bit of movement, and then I refined position. The work is more maintaining position, holding the pose, and then going to your breathing, pressing your palms down, lifting your sit bones up and back. I'm feeling good. Bigger inversion. Gonna go about another 30, 45 seconds.
Down to the knees. The leg, the arm. I'm not going to have you move. We do that more often. Right leg, left arm, hold position. Now, since we're not moving, you might want to breathe more.
If it's really easy, you could do it in plank, right? If it's difficult, you could just do the leg. You know, the whole real heart of the practice, yogis, is trying to just step into the present moment and try to realize, recognize, cognize what your body, its condition, its situation, and then match it to what it needs. Not to get stuck in the pattern of what you like and always do. Most likely what you do more of, you need less of, right? So that's the whole practice. It's not like, can I get stronger, flexible necessarily? It's that body maintenance progression. Okay, second side, we're just holding postures, not too long in these initial ones, kind of moving through them, right? Left leg and right arm. So it's that first big kind of asymmetrical in the hips, the shoulders. It's the first very unstable posture for most of us. We waken up what we call the tonic muscle fibers, the balance stabilizers. Nice. Yeah, nice. And if you want to move, you can make movement more like holding by going really slow. You know, even when we move, the yogis say it's almost like there is these moments of stillness within movement. That seems like a contradiction, but sometimes movement can get very kind of mindless. And if you slow it down, there can be almost these brief moments, the mind can almost be still as you're doing movement.
Now, I had you hold that because our next movement is a big one. It's classic yoga, but a little bit of mix of modern kind of exercise, and it's a good one, yogis. So I'm going to come back to dog. Now, the movement is a few parts here, guys. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right foot forward. Inhale, right arm high. Exhale, right foot back. Now you could do this a little bit bigger, but I want to add the leg lift today. Okay? Right foot down. Left foot rises. Left foot forward. Work it. Left arm up. Now we're moving the whole body, getting that first big spinal twist and arm out to the side. You just had it forward. Okay? Left hand down, left leg up. Left foot down. And it's kind of like slow, it's not very fast. You can see I'm pulsing a little bit. I'm pausing, even though I'm moving. So it's three-legged dog, okay? Into your low lunge, into your twisting low lunge, back to your three-legged dog, back to your down dog. You can add push-ups too if you want.
We are going to do a couple of chaturangas right after this, and then it's kind of into holding postures. All right. So the three-legged dog is a straight leg hip extension. That's how your body works when you're walking around. Hip extension is what propels you forward in walking. If you've ever done reverse walk training, say you put a belt around your waist, I like to tell you guys to walk backwards on your morning walk. That's the most practical way to start backwards training. You go on a treadmill, you put a slight incline, and then you walk backwards. It's phenomenal. It will be weird and probably make you sore around the knees to start. But if you've ever done that, it's very awkward because your body is like designed for propelling forward via straight leg hip extension. That's why we do a lot of bridges, this pushing forward via the legs. Pushing the hips forward. That's basically what walking is. So that leg extension's for the glute, the hamstring, the calf. All right. And then that coming forward is the core. It's the hip flexor, that's psoas, and the abs. And then you're in that first lunge, which is kind of like, and then you turn with the core. So it's a really fantastic movement. We do it in a lot of different ways. If you're looking for like a couple movements, yogis, this is hard to beat. You could add like some push-ups and stuff. And And ideally you're getting, like I said, it's not like 3 to 6. It's more like until you fatigue and feel a lot of heat and your breath rate increases. You know, I often talk about parasympathetic a lot, right? Because the whole world is trying to stress you out all the time. So in yoga, it's almost like we're practicing going into these stressful situations. Sympathetic nervous system in its most simple state is increasing blood flow to limbs, increasing body temperature and heart rate. That's sympathetic. Some people call it fight or flight, but it's not quite there yet. So you practice going into these healthy forms of stress, and then you're pulling back out via intention and recognition of fight or flight. So we do want some fight or flight, right? You do want increased temperature, heart rate, breath rate, blood flow to limbs. Parasympathetic is blood flow to like different brain centers. All right, so last part here, guys. I know you're kind of still on your arms, right? It's chaturanga style. Now it could be push-ups, it could be forward backs. You kind of just did that though, right? So it could be, you know, more challenging would be up dog, low plank, up dog, low plank, up dog, low plank. Middle ground would be normal chaturangas with cobra instead of up dog. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm sore as heck today, but I'm still feeling pretty good. You know, I have like a lot of energy right now. So I'd probably go for up dog. I do up dog a lot less. I do most 6 out of 7 days. I probably do cobras. Up dog on the 1 out of the 7. So feeling good. So I went straight for up dog. Felt pretty good this morning. So I want you in that area. You're feeling really good. Remember this swooping Hindu push-up one? It's not really like you hit plank. You do hit low plank, but you go straight down from dog, forehead to hands. Then you drop those hips and it's like you curve the chest up. That's another more challenging. Easier is child pose to cobra through like a knee plank push-up. Okay, so after this, guys, you're going to hold postures for a good 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll get into standing movements and then your whole postures again. So it looks like a lot of you are resting. That's the idea. It's like, you notice, guys, you do exercise for years and you have routines. If you go to before your exercise routine, whatever it is, if you walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes, you'll be way stronger. It won't hurt as much either. You'll get less pain receptor firing, and you'll also have more endurance. You also obviously be more flexible if you're warmed up, right? So a good warm up is key, and movement is a fantastic way to warm you up. Okay. So first position, guys, it's called Penigasana. Anjanasana with the side bend. Down dog, right foot forward. Classic, you know, Hatha Yoga right here. Right knee over right heel. I don't want this though, guys. I want the back knee back. Now, people who want more challenge, it's power Anjanasana, back knee lifts, but whole position, right? So I'm trying to slow you down. We've been moving a lot, right? So back knee down. If you're feeling good, right hand on the thigh, left arm up. Now there are tractions, right? It's just like standing. I do want you to watch the arch. You gotta pull your belly a little bit. Okay, don't dump. Press the big toes of both feet down. Either left arm up, palm face to right, a little side bend. Or you're feeling good, both arms up, right hand traction, left wrist, little side bend. Main part is the legs. I've tried to express the idea that in many ways, your hips play a bigger role in your muscular functional health than your arms do. All right. If the hips are tight, it runs up through the arms and the neck. And if the hips are weak, the same kind of line runs. So hips are kind of coming first. The arms are once you're getting good at the hip awareness and the core awareness. Now, second part, you're going to try to hold your hips. You're in Pedigasana. Pretend I'm in lunge facing you. Your left arm is up, you're going side. It's the same thing. So our left leg is back, right? So I turn a little bit to the right. You just did dynamic rotations to both sides. And then I side bend in a slight rotation. Okay, you're still in the lunge. I know it's tough. Okay, I turn my chest to the right. That's my front leg. My right hand could either be on my thigh, my block, my floor. So it's a slight Pedigasana twist, side bend, a twisting side bend. It's the last few breaths. And you got to use your breath, yogis. You'll run out of stamina and this will hurt more if you're not. You're getting good at this stuff. You guys have been practicing me for a long time. You have to train your mind to look at the deeper parts of the practice. Breath is the easiest one you can grab a hold of. Your thoughts are a little bit more challenging to change your thoughts regularly. Okay. So that's a pretty good Pedigasana hold. You should be a little achy after that, maybe. So you unwind, hands plant, right foot back. You just neutralize. In the classic Hatha Yoga, they say you neutralize, but you work on reducing unnecessary movements and minimalizing, the kind of nonsense in between. And then you get right back to left second side. So left foot forward, right knee crawls back, top of back foot. Remember, there's power anjayana. That's with the back foot pressing down so much, the back knee hovers. Very strong pose. Left hand on the left thigh, right arm up, and it's a side bend. That's the first part. Yeah, it looks good. Just don't dump in the arch of the back. Remember, big toes pressed down, slight pulling of the belly. Uttanasana, whole position. So as major, glute max, biggest muscles in the human body, working on being in a flexible position, but strengthening. Pressing the feet down is grounding you. Lifting your chest and arms up is making it lighter, so you're not too heavy. Now, how's the neck doing, right? What can you do with the neck? Can the shoulders go back and down a little bit more as the head forward, pull it back? Can you lengthen through the neck a little bit? Remember our tongue posture, it's called Jalandhara. Tongue to the top of the mouth, hugging you. You're training this regularly. See that? That's only tongue. This is only my tongue moving, yogis. Look. See how that muscle goes all the way here? Okay. That's key. Now, second part, no rush. Just a reminder, right? Left foot is forward. You are here. You turn a little to the left, and it's like your right hand is reaching up and over to the back left corner of your mat. And this is pulling up from the back leg. Your arm is lengthening forward and up from your leg, which is down and back. This is a big pose. It is a twisting lateral wheel pose. It is like a flip dog in a lot of ways. Looks good, everyone that I can see. Nice, Kathy. And that's like another form of that. If you want to, Kathy's binding, like the back hand to the back foot. And that is part of this. It's part of the coil series. If you know your biomechanics, it's about as big as you can stretch the body. So now we do something to stiffen up in the symmetry. All right. No rush going there. This side might, a little less like explanation. So you're in it faster. So I kind of hold it a little less. So I need you to keep me honest. If my timing's a little off, I got my clock right here, but if this is your tighter side, you have to recognize that too. Okay. The next position is a plank hold. So we are going to try to just meditate in plank. Again, a stressful, challenging, mental, emotional situation where you work on composing the mind, body, emotions. Usually via breath, right? Breath is the neuroregulator. So you're going to get into a plank. So we did some plank work earlier, some of these, right? If you're feeling good, you just hold handstand at the wall, headstand. If you're feeling kind of not so good, knee plank. High plank is in the mid ground, forearm plank, a one-legged plank or a balancing plank would be more challenging towards handstand hold. So let's get it to it. Next position is to hold plank. and meditate in it. Close your eyes. Don't think about time. Think about connecting to your body and breathing in a more conscious way and feeling, noticing that how the breath can calm the mind and the body. Work on engaging muscles that you're not engaging. The butt, the thighs, the calves, the back body. If your chest dumps between the arms, lift the chest up higher, lift the upper back higher. Right, in Jiva Mukti, you're in handstand. This is Jiva Mukti, right? So you do the Anjayana. Jiva Mukti is a bhakti style of yoga. It's a very devotional, meditative yoga. They have you in handstand. They have beginners in handstand earlier than this. I added the little biomechanical movements, right? They'll be like first 5 minutes. There's a group of people in that class I would never dream of putting handstand in there. And they're just like handstand. And they don't give you other options. You gotta hold longer than you want to. Remember, Anjayana is a back bend. It stretches front body. This is a front body tightener. So you can see the contrast here, all right? What you're gonna like is there's a straight leg back line twist next, right? So it's another big stretch, but there is a lot of ideal activity there, okay? All right, so you take a little breather.
You know, when I see happy is starting to rest, that's kind of my cue. My stronger people, I just expect you to hold longer, all right? Right foot forward. So we're doing some basics. You know, I tend to have you do revolve triangle and triangle more here. Now we're doing that half. Now, again, this is back line stretch. What do you think's next? Back line tightener probably, right? In symmetry? Okay. Right hip back, press your feet down. Yogis, press your feet down. Look at it. I'm pressing my feet down. I could hold and move here and hold it. Now I'm going to go for the stretch to start. 2 parts, just like Pedigasana. Bending the knee is totally fine. Think anterior tilt, which means cow hips. So I'm not here, I'm here. Okay, it's tough to see. Lengthen the core, forward fold. If you want to do full splits, it's fine. If you want to do pyramid, it's fine. They're basically the same thing. Okay? Right hip back, and I'm forward folded. Press your feet down. Hold position, left hip back and right hip back in space. Now, what I want you to work on here is the twist, actually. Just like we hold pyramid, and I have you inhale, half lift, and then you turn toward the front leg, you'll do it here. You did dynamic rotation bent knee, that was your lunge movement, okay? You just did opposite rotation in. Now you're gonna lengthen, left hand down and block the floor, and from your core, you turn to the right. So if my right leg's in front of me, it's gonna be an achy stretch. Remember, this is like a pigeon stretch. Your right leg is across your chest in front of you. That's what pigeon is, just bent knee. Remember, straight leg pigeon is a pose. We don't ever do it. It's usually pretty advanced. We do it on our back usually. Looks good, everyone that I can see. Now remember, if your spine is parallel to the floor, your right arm should maybe be to the sky. If your spine is upright, your right arm would be behind you, back. Your right arm is perpendicular to your spine, and you're using, just like you did in the lunge, to twist that horizontal abduction, it's called, or a back fly, to create that twist compound, extension, rotation. So you got to be particular where your arm is in relation to your spine. If you're down where you want your arm back, if you're upright, you don't want your arm up. That's not rotation, okay? All right, guys, you're done there. Right hand down, right leg back. Take a moment in between sides. Now we're trying to bring in a balance of strength and flexibility. There's a lot of activation. I want you to remember that there's basically a cue for every single joint. So my left foot goes forward. I'm flexing that foot. I'm pressing the feet down.
right? So the back foot, top of the foot's down. That's called plantar flexion. Front foot dorsiflexion. You're pulling the top of the foot toward the shin. You're engaging your feet down and active. Okay, you're engaging your thigh and pressing your left heel down. That's hamstring and thigh stabilizing the knee, right? You're pulling your left hip back and anterior tilting. There's your pelvic tilt. That's stabilizing all the joints around the pelvis, SI, hip joints, lower back. Then you're pulling your belly in, lengthening your chest. They're stabilizing your core, shoulders rolling back and down. There's just as much activity as there is stretching. Hatha means balancing of masculine, feminine, active, passive, sun, moon, intense and easy. So if you tend to be lazy, not active, lazy is a bad word for it, not active, you want to try to practice activating. If you tend to be overactive, I doubt that's the case here, but if you tend to be overactive, you gotta relax a little bit, yogis. You know, the more you do this, the better you are at activating in it, hopefully. So you're forward folding over the front leg, you're breathing. You take as many breaths as you need there based on what your body needs. Some days, some people need more here. Some people need to go into the twist more, the more complex form. So you'd inhale half lift, just like pyramid, and then you turn your chest to the left. You're thinking like cow twist, all right? And your left hip is gonna wanna go like forward and up. So you're trying to drop it a little down and back. And you gotta, engage your core and press your feet down. I've had you do balancing things here. I've had you do heel lifts. I've had you do dynamic hinges. I've had you rotate the foot. Those are all on the table too, depending on what you feel in the moment that your body needs. That's how I would do it. I don't really have anyone telling me to do stuff. I'm trying to sense what my body needs, do that. And then even in that, sense what I need in that and apply that, right? All right, so you're gonna take another like 30 seconds here and you're gonna take a neutralizer. So our plank was front body work, tightening. Now it's back body work and tightening. You've done Uttanasana, was the front body stretch into it, and you did the splits there with the rotation. So we're gonna lay down on the chest. I'm just gonna have you go straight into locust today. So it is just full body, all right? This is one we should be doing at least probably twice a week. It's more athletic than bridge, but it's in a similar plane of action, okay? So listen, after you neutralize, some of you still doing your splits, take your time. I'm just moving ahead. You lay on your chest. So I'm not gonna do camel right now because that's very stretchy. You could do bow, that's more active. So lay down on your chest. I'm gonna have arms wide. I'm sticking with this. We do enough of this in yoga, all right? That's more athletic. Arms wide, this is more postural correction. It's the same body form in the arms you just did. So you're gonna lay down on your chest, and now I'm gonna have you hold. I'm not gonna have you move. You can move if you want. You're gonna lift your chest, arms, and legs. Now, you're trying to point your toes and straighten your legs. You're trying to reach your arms out, shoulders back and down. And then you close your eyes and you think of it like a plank. You work on breathing and holding. So everything is lifting, even your belly a little bit off the floor. Maintain position is the work. The breath is the fuel. Every second you hold, you are enhancing muscle memory. Back line is the posture. The head goes forward, right? So what do you have to activate? The back of the neck. The shoulders roll forward. So what do you have to do? Activate the back of the shoulders. The shoulders medial rotate. It's the lateral rotators that are in the back of the shoulders. The upper spine rounds. We have to lift and thoracic extensions. All the back body is your postural corrections. Your lower back arches. How do we take you out of it? Glute maximus. How do we get you to stop walking heel heavy? We strengthen your calf muscles and hamstrings. Hold position, yogis. If you need a rest, that's totally okay. Just get back in it when you can. We're going a little bit longer on this, okay? I have to basically make you hold this one until you rest. That's when the body sends the messages. Reverse RNA, right? It sends the muscle. It's the message talking to the stem cells, to the DNA. We need to be stronger. All right. So I'm just going to have you do one round. You know, we could do 2 rounds of this stuff, and that's another classic way of doing it all. But I want to keep you moving. You did your plank, you did your back. So now we make our way to standing. You did straight legs, you did rotations, you did laterals, you did lunges. You're good there. So we're going to come back through dog. Any neutralizers might be good. After doing the back body activation, you walk your feet to the front of your mat and you hold Uttanasana. So reaching for your toes at the front of your mat is next position. You know, stepping on your hands is a fun one. Back of the wrist stretch, grabbing your toe is a good one. Padagustasana, the first one was Padahastasana. If you want to do arms behind the back or any other variations, kind of tucking your chin to chest, hands on the back of your head. You got about another 45 seconds in forward bend hold. Just a slower class today, yogis. You're going to get a movement or 2 here, right? So, so you know that is coming. So I want to see pivoting now. Like even, you know, our hips were locked here, right? Or here. There is some slight hip rotation there. You know, you're locked here, lunge, and you were locked, and then you're locked, and then you're locked. So I want to pivot everything and rotate everything. Now, you know, not classic yoga really, but really good stuff. And it is challenging on the body. So you're going to start in this position and you're going to move. It's not like too structured. You don't need to hold poses right now. I'm going to have you do it a little different. I'm going to give you some options and you're going to get into it. Arms are in front of you like this, right? It's a C plant. Arms straight is more. Watch the back. Watch the right foot. That's the back of my mat. Right toes in. I turn to the left. So I'm in like a lunge in the double bend. Right toes turn in. I adduct, which means squeeze my thighs together. Then I come back to center. Left toes turn in. They squeeze and I turn. Don't force this, yogis. Just pull your belly in. If you want more, you go up a little bit, okay? Or down a little bit. See how I'm starting to get into it, pivoting? This action is dynamic compound of abduction, adduction with internal and external rotation. There's not that many exercises that do that. And in yoga, we lack this a lot. It's rotation of hips with inner and outer thigh muscles. We are very front and back oriented animals in life and in exercise. And all the modern biomechanics constantly talking about train your rotators, train your abductor adductors, right? You know, the Olympic lifts, the traditional way of exercising, push-ups, squats, hinges, rowing, pull-ups, jogging, biking, they're all very forward and back. You get nothing in rotational dynamic, you know, adduct. Everything gets so tight in rotation and coronal plane. So this is a really awesome exercise. All right. Now you do this with weights, right? You do this, you know, you could, you know, in the gym, you know, you're going to have a band maybe and you go like that, or you do it in one arm, right? Or you do the pull, right? Where you're doing resisted. But this is a very structured form. The main thing I'm looking for is this, but it has to be, this has to all squeeze in here, right? And then you go here, and then this all squeezes, this lengthens max, this shortens. This internally rotates, this externally rotates. So, and it is all movement. You just get into it. Another minute. I want a little extra, a fatigue, a pause, a shaking out, and then again. Next is balance, yogis.
And when you think about, just I talk about this a lot, like life, you're like this. Look at it, look. My right toes turn in, my left toes turn out, right? And then you're like this. It's kind of like what you're doing. In gentle yoga, I have you do stuff like this. I've had you do stuff like this. We do other things like that too. But think about sports. What is it? It's like this. Toes turn in, right? So, I've had you do this stuff too, where you're going like this, adduction medial, abduction lateral. All right, so our next movement is strictly balance. And, we got all regulars. I want you on one foot. So that was very upright, yogis, right? You're not really hinging. I did give the option. It's lunging and it's squatting. This is hinging. I try to hammer home the idea. Squatting, hinging, and lunging. The three fundamentals of level 2. Level 1 is deadlift and weight carry. That's the basic, right? And walking. Walking, deadlift, combined is the weight carry. So now we have our final fundamental here, the dynamic hinge. This is one we should be doing at least once a week. Inhale, exhale. There's your high knee. Right? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Look at my core integrity, yogis. Inhale, exhale. Just look. My left hand is reaching in front of my right foot. Now, if you want to go complex, which just means another range, another action, right hand reaches. It's like half moon. Okay? And the idea is to repeat, as many as you can, basically, because there's no weight. We've done this countless times. There's many ways to do it. Get into it, yogis. Think about it, you got to bend over every day. So it's probably something you should teach your body to do well. Basically, posture and walking are number 1 and 2. Like if you have to master a couple things, posture and walking. And then the next thing for functional exercise would be like bending over, being able to pick something up and then walk with it. That's life, right? You got to bend over, pick groceries up, and then carry it in your house. So that's something you should probably get good at. And then as far as I call that level 2 because it's more like exercise. It's not like body mechanics of your daily life. I said squatting, hinging, and lunging. And then you get into the rotational patterns and the laterals. I'd say rotations first, probably. Lateral is probably easier. Rotational is probably more functional. So make sure you start your second side now, guys, because we got to keep going. I have a few more things I want to do here. You just came from pivoting. This is all very linear, right? What did we do? We did Pedigasanas into planks. We did half split rotation, revolve, into locust or posterior plank. And then now we're doing like the same thing. It was like pivoting and adducting and abducting and rotating into this like very forward and back thing, right? It's the same idea. Now, my left foot's not as good. You guys were seeing my good foot, right? So my left foot isn't as good here. I want to give a little extra love, a few extra reps, slow down, maybe do my left side twice. It's basically like you're going into warrior 3 and then standing with your knee up into your chest. Nice, you can add other things too, right? The pigeon at the top's nice, a twist at the top. Everyone I can see looks good.
For body function, for optimizing performance, what do you do when you're in a sports team, right? You go for a long jog as a group, and then you go right into form runs. You don't stretch, you don't strengthen, you do form runs. And what are the first form runs? High knees and straight leg hip extensions, right? You do this. You do your high knees first, and then you do this. That's what we did. The first big thing we did, right, was hold here, opposite leg and opposite arm, and then I had you go here and here on your chest. It's the same stuff, yogis, just done with different objectives. High knees for athletes looks like this, and then they go to really hit the back line hard and the front line, right? So same stuff, and then they do this for twists. Athletic style, abduction, adduction. You got your rotations. It's a really good one. All right, let's keep going, guys. So I want to do the triangle, hold position. We didn't really do anything like that yet. So now you go again. It's rotational. Look, right hip laterally rotates, or external is the more common way to say it. Left toes internally rotate, or medial. So your asymmetric rotations, you could do side angle or warrior two if you prefer. They're all kind of similar. Arms wide. Let's do our triangles. I'm a big fan of this one too. Right hip down, lengthen out, and then we hinge. All right, so strength, long spine. It's not a lateral flexion, right? Look, so it's not lateral flexion. See this side body shortened? It's more long. Belly in, long core, right? You want more? Arms behind your back, Sushumna. My hands are here. You can do half bind, stronger. A few more breaths, full position today. Second side. Just get in slow, take your time setting it up, and then get in and hold. So you don't want to rush to the pose, but today the pose is a little bit more of the focus. So you did Uttanasana, revolved half splits, which was your revolved triangle, and then you just took care of the triangle, right? Nice job there. So I do want to do the toe strengtheners. We didn't really do like squats today, right? And you got to do them. You got to do your squats, right? So you're going to finish up your triangle. That's straight leg and rotation. Now it's bent knee and neutral. Same thing. So it's the heel balance, it's the toe balance, guys. So how do you want to do it? There's a lot of ways here. I like to go arms forward. Just gives me better balance, right? And I'm just going to lift my heel, bend my knee. Now this is my beginner, right? I want you to remember that this can strain the foot, the arch. You're not used to it, right? But this will strengthen your arch. So you're here. I want to pull the belly in. I don't want to arch my back too much. So it's a slight tuck. Now, as I get better at it, I go a little deeper and I can go like up and down. I really want to try to feel my toes. Now, what happens here, yogis, is I notice a lot of times people tend to lean towards the pinky. You know how in down dog, you put your hand, teachers always saying press the inner hand down. Same in the foot here. So you're leaning maybe to your pinky toe. I want you to try to press like the big toe down a little more. Not crazy here, but notice that. You lean to the outer foot, lean to the inner. You're getting really good at this you would bend your knees deeper, but just remember that it's an anti-hinge. A squat, primary squat or high bar, they call it, is anti-hinge. You don't really have people do low bar squat, which is like a hinging squat, until they can not do it. It's the same with all that stuff. It's like there's these fundamentals working anti-actions before you just do the action. All right, you work against your pattern and tendency first. In eagle, people always go forward, so you're leaning back first, right? So you're still on your toes. Another fun one is to walk around. So like a lot of times I walk around the gym like this. How do I get my toe balance on in the gym? I do this a lot. I walk around. So you can do that. That suffices, right? We've had you do lunge like this, warrior two like this. I mentioned balance like this on one foot. Okay, and today I want you to actually do 2 rounds. So this is your squatting for today. It's toe balance. We did a lot of this, right? So remember that high knee is basically squatting body form. Okay, you did it here. You did it on the ground. Okay. Second round, our toe balance. Another little nice challenge is to kind of walk laterally. It's not that difficult, right? But you're strengthening the toes. Remember I said strengthen your calves so you don't walk heel heavy? This is basically it in a nutshell. You're learning to grip the toe and put weight there. Your heels are literally lifted. You can't walk heel heavy. I want you to maybe do an experiment. This was a big trend like years ago. I think it was like 2010. And then they did that 30-day challenge where you walk on your toe, your mound of your foot as much as possible throughout your day, right? So you wake up and you start walking like this, right? And then you forget, but then midday, you walk around like this again. And that was actually started by like physical therapists and functional movement therapists. It's if you strengthen the calf and the ankle and the foot there, everything changes, right? If your posture changes and your walking changes, your whole life changes. That's why it's number 1 and 2, because you do those all day long. And this is a game-changing little thing you can do. I think I've mentioned that challenge before. It's a really simple way to exercise anytime, anywhere. Okay. All right, so I think that's our second round of balance. I guess you could say it's not great balance, but it works. So we're gonna bring it back down to the ground. If you want to do a sun salutation, if you want to do crow pose, if you want to do a deep yoga squat, that might be nice. How do you want to get down to the ground? You know, whatever you want to do, right? So we're gonna meet like seated position. So the classic Hatha Yoga here is going to end on the back. No seated yoga today. I started in seated meditation. Okay. So we basically got 2 more postures that are challenging. And one is the hollow body hold. Think of it like a second plank hold. It's low boat. It's supposed to be like abs isolating, whereas plank really doesn't hit your abs well. It hits your psoas, your obliques really well, parts of your core. This is going to hit your abs a lot better. Okay, so you're going to lay on your back. You're going to bring your knees over your hips. I think everyone knows this. You're going to curl your upper body, and then you're going to start to reach your legs forward. So it's the hollow body. You lay on your back like a banana. Legs are up and forward. Upper body's up as well, right? Just your lower back's down. So a lower body tension. It's an anti-extension, just like plank. You went from like this toes and this balance and this legs like right up into the core. Back line, right? It was like arch of foot, calf, into now like abs, hip flexors, and quads, shins. Any other ab exercise is okay. I like to have static holds though a lot because I do those less. So 2 days ago when I was exercising, I just put on a little timer, put on music, and I just held. I actually kept my lower body down that day, but I just held lever. I just held it. Mix it up, yogis. What do you do less of? Now the toe balance is like a dynamic stabilization. I mentioned laterals, and now we're back in the front body for our final time. Holding. It looks like some of you have already taken a break. That's good. And then the second thing here is the final back line. It's just like a final vinyasa done a different way. It's bridge or wheel. Or you can do reverse plank. It's like weight bearing on the arms. We didn't do too much weight bearing on the arms. So if you want to do like a wheel or a reverse plank, reverse table, that's nice. Easier is bridge or one-legged bridge. Bridge is a good fundamental to do very regularly. You guys know that, all right? So we're going to do our final back line here, yogis, and then you'll get a stretch or two and you're done, okay? We already did inner thigh, outer hip, hamstrings stretching like crazy throughout class. We already did hip flexor. So bridge, wheel, I personally, it stinks. You know, I don't like that much block between your thighs and bridge. That's a reciprocal inhibition of glutes. And it's literally called glute bridge, right? So that's like saying, do a push-up but relax your chest or something like, you know, it's like do a curl but relax your bicep. I don't know where I have been trying to figure out, you know, where these cues came from. Do bridge but relax your glutes. That's a good way to have your back and hamstrings tighten up a lot and not train your strongest muscles. You know, I got hired in 2016 to do a yoga anatomy training. I went to this studio in New York and I was teaching anatomy, functional anatomy. I wasn't teaching them names and muscles. I was teaching them joints and their actions. And I was teaching bridge about how you should engage your glutes. And that the head teacher who hired me proceeds to basically argue with me that that's not correct. And, you know, it doesn't make any sense to disengage your glutes, because how I train people to do glutes is band around your thighs. What's the functional activations? It's big toe press down. It's pull your heels to your shoulders. It's posterior tilt. It's all backline training. It's like, you know, disengage your pelvic stabilizer in your hip thrust. You know, yogis teach exercise, but don't know exercise very well. I can confirm chiropractors, physical therapists, and exercise physiologists all agree about engaging your butt and bridge, but the yogis don't. You know, the yogis are good at meditating. They're not that great at exercise. I want you to engage your butt and pull your belly in. That's the postural correction. Okay. Sorry, I went on a little rant there, but it's like one of my least favorite cues in yoga. Disengage your butt and bridge. I don't get it. I have tried to understand that cue. There's a time to do that, but that's not always. It's like maybe 1 out of 10 times do it with your butt relaxed. All right. And that's the same reason I say engage your back and back bends, right? Cobra, engage your back. All right. So we're done here with any active exercises. Some of you are still going. Remember, I'm just trying to, you know, I want to inform you guys and educate that people, not just give you poses and stuff. I think it's important. We're always progressing our understanding. And you want to remember, I could be wrong about a lot of this, but, you know, my whole Instagram, I don't even follow friends. I just follow exercise scientists and neurologists and psychologists. Every time I'm looking at social media, it's to try to learn to be a better instructor. So, you know, I could be wrong about a lot of this, and it's a lot of context, depends on the person. So always want to take what I say with a grain of salt. So listen, guys, I want a nice hip stretch. I think we did inner thighs enough, you know, triangle. I think we did hamstrings enough, and I think we did outer hips enough. But if you want one of those, it's fine. I would maybe say, you know, a front thigh stretch or a really medial stretch, but rolling onto your side and doing something like this might be awesome.
here, right? You know, things like this have your thighs engaging like crazy. Things like this have your thighs engaging a lot. So, you know, a nice thigh stretch where you roll onto your side. But if you want to do something like frog or butterfly, that's that inner thigh I was mentioning. What's a hip stretch you want to do, yogis? A restorative bridge could work, but we did Uttanasana. You did locust, which is basically the same form as your restorative bridge. You see, it's just like applying logic to practice, not getting stuck in the common narrative. I see too many yoga teachers who've trained under one teacher who is very controlling, and then they have trouble getting outside of what they've been told. And, you know, I was there. I remember that. And it's all part of the process, having to like recognize your things. Just like you guys have to recognize the practitioners, your things and exercise, I have to recognize my things as the instructor and apply where I'm imbalanced. That's how I create your sequencing. You know, as we're going through it, like, what do we need? What haven't we done? What haven't we done this week? What haven't we done this month? All right. And what do we, you know, need to slow down and pick up? Where's our imbalances as a group? So can we do the second side? Yogis, after this, I'm going to give you one more stretch. A spinal twist might be nice, a plow, an inversion. Even in that sense, you don't need to stretch a lot at the end of every class. Yogis stretch too much, right? So you can stretch a lot once you've strengthened a lot. If you haven't been strengthening a lot, you need to strengthen. That needs to be the focus. If you haven't been moving, you sit at a desk, you need to move. All right. I'm thinking that this Sunday, I might do like a yin class. I might use Sunday to mix in some different styles where we do the deep fascia releases. Because I use it like every week. I hold like straddle and lizard like every week. Because I do a lot of leg exercises personally, and I haven't been giving you guys that. So we're going to go probably hard on Saturday for strength. And then Sunday, I'm going to get you in those positions. You're going to hold and meditate. Nice, deep fascial stretch release class. All right. So don't miss that one if you're looking for flexibility. So last stretch of class, yogis, spinal twist on your back or seated might be nice. Putting a block under your chest might be nice. Our thoracic extensions, you know, mainly actively was the locust. So what's one more stretch that you need? I know you did that, maybe a hip one there. So maybe you do a core one now, lower back. And then just like we started seated meditating, you're going to close up with that subtle body practice. So you just sit or lay, you do as little as possible. There is no deep breathing in final meditation unless that's a intention based on some information you're getting and needing in the moment. But eventually, ideally, you've been breathing for an hour, right? So you'd want to relax your breath also, because breathing is very muscular. Parasympathetic is a very, very calm breath, right? I don't teach loud breathing. You know, maybe to a first timer or beginner, but none of you are beginners. The breath really is very calm at this point, as calm as possible. Remember I said parasympathetic. We are trying to ignite the breath in the beginning. Now we calm it. All right. So closing meditation when you're ready, please. I'll give you just a few minutes. Close your eyes. Let go. Trance. Still quiet time.